Hello and welcome to part 4 of chapter 6. In this part we're going to be discussing the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare, and this can be found on pages 619 through 630 in your book. Okay, one of the questions that you have to ask every taxpayer that you come across is whether or not they had health insurance during the year. Okay, they should present you with one of 3 forms. All right, when you do their taxes. Number 1 would be Form 1095A. And that is the statement from healthcare.gov, or commonly known as the marketplace. Okay, 1095A is for people that have purchased a plan, gold, silver, bronze plan through the marketplace. And and again, this is for people that do not have health care at work or cannot afford, normal private health insurance. All right. This Form 1095A is very, very important because it is used to complete Form 8962, which is the premium tax credit form. Okay. All right. So you will get a form from your taxpayer that it has to be 1095A, 1095B, or 1095C. And again, if it's a 1095A, you're going to be completing the Form 8962 on page 627 in your book. All right. What that is when people apply for health insurance through healthcare.gov, all right, if they ask for an offset credit called the premium tax credit, okay, to be applied to their insurance, and usually this credit will be paid directly to the insurance company, all right, those amounts will be noted, okay, on Form 8962, and it's really important that you have these numbers, all right, because you have to fill out the form when you do the return. Okay, it can get a little bit complicated, but the Form 1095A does allow you to fill out Form 8962 actually very easily. If you are dealing with a client who had insurance through the marketplace, okay, and they do give you Form 1095A, all right, what you're going to primarily be concerned with when you get to Form 8962, which again is on page 627, okay, you're going to be looking at column, if you look at Part 2, okay, and you go down about to line 11, all right, you're going to be primarily concerned with column A, you're going to be concerned with column B, and you're going to be concerned with column F. Those 3 columns are going to match up with the information on the 1095A. So pretty much all you have to do is check a few boxes and enter a few amounts, and the amount of the premium tax credit will compute itself at the bottom of Form 8962. If the total premium tax credit exceeds the amount of the tax credits that were paid directly to the insurance company, then the net difference in the taxpayer's favor can be found on line 69 of Form 1040. If the amount of the premium tax credits that were paid to the insurance company exceeds the amount of the calculated credit, which means the taxpayer owes some money back, okay, the amount that they have to pay back will be on line 46 of Form 1040. So line 46 or line 69 should have an amount on it for anybody that had insurance through the marketplace. Okay. Now, what happens if they didn't have health insurance during the year? Well, as the author points out at the start of this section, okay, you can this ACA stuff, it gets kind of complicated, and so the author chose to focus on the individual responsibility payment. All right, it is the law that everybody has to have health insurance. It does not matter if you get the health insurance through the marketplace, whether you get it through your employer, or whether you get it through Medicare, Medicaid, or any kind of state-sponsored program like Indiana HIP 2.0. Okay, and either way, it's health insurance. Okay, and by the way, the individual responsibility mandate applies to everybody on the return, including the children. Okay, so if you do get a client that did not have health insurance, chose not to pay for it, the next question you should ask yourself is whether or not your client would qualify for some kind of an exemption. Okay, all right, and again, that is something that you would apply for on the tax return. All right, there are different types of exemptions. The primary one being that it just simply wasn't affordable. Okay, now anybody who is under the federal poverty level is eligible for Medicaid, so they wouldn't have to worry about buying health insurance on their own. If they are between the poverty level and the 401% mark of the poverty level, and again, the software should calculate this for you automatically, okay, it'll show how much the taxpayer's income had to be no greater than in order to qualify for an exemption. Okay, if they are under that amount, they are automatically exempt. If they are over that amount, then they have to, what I usually do with my clients, I say is, okay, did you check into getting health insurance? And they're like, well, yeah, it would have cost me, $250 a month. Okay, so I would take that amount times 12, and then I would figure out whether or not that they would have a hardship based on the fact that their health insurance was too expensive. All right, and according to the IRS, your health insurance should not be more, and it shouldn't cost you more than I think it's about 8% or 8.5% of your adjusted gross income. So again, that's a little bit, it's hard to do this in a video, but when you get to the ACA part of the software, and when you look at Form 8965 and you look at the other forms, the 1095 forms, and the Form 8962 for the premium tax credit, you should be able to figure it out just by going through the forms and talking with your client. Okay, so that is a short discussion of the ACA. By the way, these penalties can be rather steep. They could be into the thousands. Okay, so and even at a minimum, they are usually around $695 per person, for the taxpayer and the spouse. So it's not something that that you can just push off to the side. All right, if the Form 8965 and or the Form 8962 is not attached to the return electronically, the IRS will reject the tax return until they see that form on the return. So you have to put it on there somewhere. Now, if your taxpayer had normal health insurance through their work, okay, then when you get to the ACA pages, all right, there's a place on there that just says that you have a 1095 1095B from your employer generally, or a 1095C, and it shows that everybody was covered and they were covered for the whole year. All right, and then you just check the box on the back of the 1040 that says that they were covered full-time for the year, and there will be no penalties on the return. Where it can get a little sticky is if the taxpayer had coverage for part of the year but not for all of the year. Okay, one of the exemptions from the penalty is if the amount of time that they were not that they did not have health insurance was 3 months or less during the year, any 3-month consecutive period. So that also is noted on the forms, and will help you calculate any penalties, if any. Okay. All right. That concludes this section on the Affordable Care Act.